I think we've reached enough of a critical mass to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Introduction to Next Generation Haptics for XR tutorial as a part of the IROS 2020 virtual conference. Haptics, or the sense of touch, the study of touch, has become increasingly popular and important as new tech has been developed, allowing us to touch the virtual, distant, and otherwise unreachable. In today's world especially, we all can see this being in our virtual Zoom webinar today, where the necessity of touch is ever clearer, haptic technology has become particularly relevant. In this tutorial, we will describe and discuss haptic technology from various perspectives to help all of you understand and how to leverage haptics for XR or other novel applications that you have in mind. In this session, I'll be explaining some of the structure of the virtual tutorial, which has a mix of synchronous and asynchronous content throughout the day. This tutorial is going from now until about 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. After today, these talks from our synchronous speakers will have been recorded and will be uploaded to the IROS on-demand system for viewing later if you would like to share those links to your colleagues or friends. So first, a little bit about us organizers for this tutorial session. This session has been organized by Dr. Marsha O'Malley and myself, Zane Zook. Dr. O'Malley is a professor of mechanical engineering, computer science, and electrical and computer engineering at Rice University. She's also the director of the Rice Mechatronics and Haptics Interfaces Lab, or MAHI Lab for short. And for myself, I am a Rice University mechanical engineering PhD candidate working in the MAHI Lab under Dr. O'Malley. When we first began talking about what this tutorial session would look like, we were interested in learning and hearing from experts on haptics that could speak about it from 4 different perspectives. These perspectives form the main topics that will be discussed in this tutorial session. We hope it gives everyone who is attending today a broad overview of what haptics is and could be for you. The first topic is haptic perception, which is focusing on the human side of haptics. We have hardware design, focusing on the devices themselves and how we implement. Interaction design, focusing on the connection between the human and the device. And finally, novel applications, focusing on the inspiration behind and the effect of using different haptic technology. Now, going into our schedule for the day. We have broken up the tutorial session today into 2 different parts. We have a morning part and an afternoon part with a break in between. The morning part is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we have 4 live talks during this session. First, we have Dr. Matteo Bianchi from the University of Pisa, who will present his talk entitled From Human Haptic Perception Modeling to System Design for Advanced Human-Machine Interaction. Following him, we have Dr. Oliver Schneider from the University of Waterloo, who will present his talk entitled How to Design Haptic Experiences. Next, Dr. Allison Okamura from Stanford University will present her talk on wearable tactile devices for XR. And finally, to wrap up our live talks in the morning part, we have Dr. Jeremy Brown from Johns Hopkins University, who will present his talk on haptic interaction design for telerobotic devices. And then finally, to conclude this morning's session, we'll have a panel of our morning speakers, where you have the opportunity to submit your questions via the Q&A panel on this Zoom webinar, and we'll be taking the time to ask our speakers whatever questions that you might have. At the end of this session, we'll have a short break, and then we'll be moving into our afternoon part. The afternoon part of the tutorial is from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This part of the tutorial has 2 live talks and 3 pre-recorded talks. We will begin with our pre-recorded speakers. Our first pre-recorded speaker is Dr. Lynette Jones from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, who will present her talk on enhancing realism and communication bandwidth using multi-sensory cutaneous cues. Then Dr. Heather Culbertson from the University of Southern California will present her talk on minimizing haptic hardware in wearable devices. Our last pre-recorded speaker is Dr. Jeremy Cooperstock from McGill University, who will discuss taking haptics out of the lab and into the wild. Then we have our live talks. Our first live speaker in the afternoon session is Dr. Ali Israr from Facebook Reality Labs, who will discuss challenges in haptic hardware design for enabling XR interactions. Our next live speaker is Dr. Sheila O'Moran from the University of Michigan, who will present her talk on designing a full-page tactile display, what we know and what we don't know yet. After our speakers present, we'll have our syntax workshop led by Evan Pezant from the MAHI Lab. And then to conclude our afternoon session, we'll have a panel of our afternoon speakers, where again, you'll be able to submit your question via the Zoom Q&A. As mentioned, we have a workshop specific on syntax. During this workshop, Mr. Evan Pezant from the MAHI Lab will present Syntax, an open source software and hardware package for rendering vibrotactor feedback through audio interfaces. He'll start with a brief introduction of Syntax and its capabilities, followed by hands-on tutorials covering the Syntax amplifier kit, programming APIs, and graphical user interfaces. He'll then end with some real-world examples with special emphasis towards wearable haptic devices for XR applications. For those of you who are interested in learning more about haptics as a whole, the IEEE World Haptics Conference is the premier international conference covering all aspects of haptics. The conference is scheduled to be held in Montreal from June 6th through 9th in 2021. And the organizers have specifically asked us to emphasize that special effort is being made to ensure that virtual participation will not only be possible, but also a high quality experience. World Haptics is also offering this year a direct-to-journal publication option through IEEE transactions on haptics. For more information, please visit their website as shown on the slide here, worldhaptics2021.org. Now back to our session today. Since we are on Zoom, there are a few logistical differences than if we were all in person in the same room. First is Q&A. Please input your question through the Q&A panel on the Zoom webinar screen. And please be sure to indicate which speaker you are addressing your question to, or if the question is addressed to the organizers. That will help us as moderators understand who exactly you want to be asking this toward. Our Q&A moderators will be helping filter these questions through the day, so please put them in as you come up with them through the talks, as well as primarily through the panels. Note that chat has been disabled and will only be used for announcement from the organizing side regarding what session we are currently in and any other announcements that we might have. Also, we have allowed all attendees to upvote different questions that you might see in the Q&A panel. So please go through the Q&A, see what questions have been asked, and upvote the ones that you find the most popular. We'll be trying to ask the questions that have the most upvotes to make sure the most popular questions do get answered. Since this webinar is going to be continuously run throughout the day, please feel free to join and leave as needed. We do hope you stay with us all day, but we do understand scheduling can be difficult. And also know that, as mentioned, all these sessions will be recorded and uploaded to IROS On Demand at a later time. Finally, you might notice that we'll be using some break slides in between different sessions. These are to indicate that we're preparing for our next session or otherwise taking a quick break. Please be patient with us during those in-between portions as we run setup, try and handle screen share, figure out video and audio, and know that our primary content will be returning soon. Now, those are all of my announcements. I'll be handing things over to Dr. O'Malley to say a few words.
Well, thank you, Zane. First, I want to give Zane a big thank you for his Herculean efforts to pull this tutorial together. He really has led this effort to reach out and identify a fantastic set of speakers to share their perspectives with us today. Second, I want to thank our speakers who are up, some of them very bright and early, like Zane on the West Coast of the US. But as you can tell from our schedule, we'll have folks coming and going throughout the day. So thanks to all of our speakers for their willingness to share their perspectives with us. And finally, attendees, we're so glad to have you here. I see a great crowd is gathering, and I think that bodes well for some vibrant discussion throughout the day. So welcome and thank you, and we look forward to some great discussion. Back to you, Zane.
So with that, we'll begin preparing for our first session of the day, which is going to start at 9:30 sharp. So we do have some in-between time here. Please take this time to go refill your coffee, your tea, grab a snack, or otherwise prepare yourself for the very exciting day that is to come. And we will see you back here soon. I'm going to switch screen share here so we have our break slide up. We'll see you back here in about 10 minutes.